Hey guys, it's your girl Kizzy Rock, and yes, Kizzy Rock is my birth given name. Happy Friday, guys. Want to say hey to all my subscribers, new as well as season. I got a word for you. Tap in. Happy Friday morning, guys. Are you ready to bring this thing in? Are you ready to bring this thing in? Okay, guys. So, of course, again, a lot of you guys are currently in due season. Some of you are at the gate, right? You're at the gate. You're just waiting for that gate to open, swing open. Um, and you're kind of in the posture where either God have you moving on obedience, or God have you doing absolutely nothing. This is a very, very tricky spot if you're not careful. Because again, you will start to feel like, well, why am I doing nothing? Why is there no convictions to do anything? In fact, the conviction is just to sit still, do absolutely nothing. Well, as human beings, we got to always have our hands in something. So you'll think that God went silent on you, and then you yourself will try to make something happen. You will try to beat the door down, even though God told you to be silent and to be still. Right? Then the enemy is strategic and very tricky. So now he will get into your mind with familiar spirits and try to make you do this, do that, do this. But in fact, your original, all caps, original download was to be still right now. Your spirit will always tell you, right? When you try to go do something, if the enemy is, kind of taunted you a bit, and you go to do it, you will get convicted. Your responsibility is to be obedient to that conviction, regardless what it looks like. Meaning, if you go to do it, the enemy got you thinking, well, yeah, if you do it this way, the door will open quicker. Or if you do it this way, you'll get approved for that thing. If you do it this way, X, Y, and Z. But that conviction in your spirit tells you to back off. Obedience is key. Back off. Because if you go to do it that way, even though it looks like it may happen, you're going to literally lose the whole blessing. And then the enemy's going to literally laugh in your face. Right? But what I really want to speak about more than anything else, I guess, right now is obedience and what God is requiring you to do when it comes down to your part. This can look like those of you who are already in due season or just at the gate, or this can look like people who are still in the wilderness, honey, trying to find your way out of this mess. God will literally give you instructions. In order to bring certain blessings in, right? God manifested blessings for you, but you're in alignment to receive it. Obedience is key. There's absolutely no way around it. There is absolutely no way around it. Regardless if God have shown you what he has for you, regardless of what God has promised you, regardless of what you've asked God for, if you do not move on your convictions to be obedient, it will not happen. I promise you. Well, at least from what I've experienced. And again, everything God have ever shown me, it has manifested. But I'm a person who move with obedience. The reason why a lot of people are fearful when it comes down to moving on your obedience is because let me just tell you, God will have you doing some things that doesn't make sense to the logical mind. God will have you do some things, honey, that you wouldn't even want to tell another person, right? It's like a pact between you and God. And the only reason why you wouldn't even tell another person is because they will think you're insane. They will think you've lost your mind, but you know what God has spoken to you. There are times where God will tell you to go and put your hands and put your feet and claim your territory. Your physical presence need to be in that environment. What's coming to mind right now is a young lady who messaged me a couple of nights ago, and she was asking me, she said that God has revealed to her who her kingdom spouse is, and I think the way she I think what she was asking me, sis, I'm sorry if you're listening, I don't have her email pulled up, but it was something in reference to God have already shown her the church or the building that they would get married in, and she's feeling a conviction to go there, like to just go there, walk around it, claim it, etc., etc. And I was like, absolutely, absolutely. If you feel God is calling you to the territory of the promise that He have given to you, I don't care who thinks you look crazy. Honey, get in your car, drive wherever you're going. You go to that building, right? Pray before you go in there so you can know exactly what it is God needs you to do. Any words He needs you to specifically pray for while you're in this particular building. See, God is strategic, right? You don't even know what kind of spirits have been up in that building. You don't even know what kind of spirits is going to be up in your wedding because, again, some people want these massive, you want 300 people. You want 300 people, right? Because you got a big family and he has a big family and you wanted to be on Instagram, right? You got all these different spirits up in your wedding, and half of these people sitting there, honey, side-eyeing you because they don't like you. They side-eyeing you because you think you all that, honey, because you found a man before them, right? Up in that building, honey, praying all kind of foolish and dropping all kind of chicken feet on that people's floor. Honey, God done send you there to go ahead and claim your territory and protect it before any other energies or spirits come up in there. That's not clean and that's not pure. Point blank, period. If God said it, it is. Period. So God will literally give you certain instructions. If God has promised you a certain house, just random things are coming to my mind now. So this, I don't know this. I guess this for other people. But God has promised you a house, right? There's a specific house He's promised you. However specific, I don't know, you saw it on the internet, right? Or He told you it has to be a certain amount of bedrooms because He knows what's coming in the next 10 years and you got to have some underground bunkers and et cetera, right? He gave you a specific house, a specific street name, a specific number of that house, honey. When you go to try to view that house, somebody up in your house, they're in your house, right? And the average mind was like, oh, well, I guess that wasn't God. It was a familiar spirit because somebody's living. The devil is a lie. God said that's your house. Did God say it or did you say it? If God said it, it is your house. So you may have instructions to go and literally ride through that neighborhood every day. Well, if you go tell this to the average person, right? You calling your home girl like, girl, God told me a house is mine, right? I ride up there, some kids in some kids already on the swing set, right? People live there, honey. But God said, this is my house. So I'm going to just ride through this neighborhood. I'm going to park at the stop sign right there by the house. And I'm going to just start praying over this house, right? People will think you're Looney Tune. So that's why it's best sometimes not to even speak on certain things. Go ahead over there, honey. Your girl's calling you to go to cocktail hour. Yes, cocktail hour, right? No, I ain't got time for no cocktails, right? I ain't got time for that, right? Y'all go ahead, have fun, right? I got work to do. Go right up in that neighborhood. However God tells you to, circle that neighborhood. If He says circle it every day for a week or circle it every day until it's yours, it is what it is. Remember, God is supernatural. Now, one day, because of your obedience, you happen to be circling the neighborhood again. Now you see a U-Haul truck in the front yard. Now your next instruction may be pull up into the yard and ask these people, hey, what's going on? Are you guys moving? Is it for sale? Is it for rent? How can I get the listing, et cetera, right? And you're going to be like, Lord, no, I know these people didn't see the same car circling this block for the last couple of months, right? I'm too ashamed to even go it. Honey, when it comes down to God and obedience, honey, you got to take shame out of your vocabulary. I'm telling you. You got to be fearless. You got to be bold. I promise you. Some of the things that God had, child, but guess what? Those things are now mine. They're now mine. You have a part to play. Sadly, religion only teaches just pray. Just go home and pray. Just pray. Did you pray again today? Pray for 7 days and you just sit home, just pray. Right? No, please pray without a question. Please pray, honey. But if God is convicting you to move your feet, you need to move your feet. Now you're going to talk to these people because you move your pride aside, right? Like, listen, I don't care if you saw me. God said, period, right? Judge me all you want. God ain't going to judge me. He's proud of me, right? Now you're going to talk to these people and they're like, oh, yeah, my husband lost, lost his, we love this house, but my husband lost his job. So we don't have a choice, right? And not saying that you're happy that the people lose their job, right? We're not saying that, but God is supernatural. And, we're just getting some things kind of like in the U-Haul now, but we really haven't listed it yet, et cetera, et cetera. But if you're interested, we don't even have to list it, right? We can just figure out something right now. So think about if you didn't go and ride around that neighborhood, even though God told you, you would have never ever saw that U-Haul truck to even know that someday these people will be moving out soon. You just took the fact that you saw some kids in the yard and that the house is not available. You just took that as, well, I guess God didn't, but God said it is yours. And now you're in the very house that God said is yours. So whatever God is requiring of you, again, there's a part you have to play. You have to be obedient, but many times just depends on the magnitude of the blessing. There has to be a spiritual shift within yourself. God has to literally teach you to build a strong spiritual foundation so you can be able to handle certain blessings. And these are probably like higher up, the higher up you go when it comes down to large blessings, like big blessed type thing. Oh, you listen, a whole spiritual foundation have to be built within you first. This is why a lot of you guys are going through extensive pruning now, and God is really, really working on your character, your integrity, right? And you got people looking at you like, oh, you've changed, honey. I guess you think you all that now. You bougie, honey. You say what you want to say, right? You can say what you want to say, honey. This wasn't my choice, right? God said, honey, in order for you to get this, honey, you got to let me prune and transform you, because you got to know how to handle these things. You can't, when God starts taking you higher, you can't handle certain blessings like you did blessings that were released 10 years ago, because the blessings increase the higher you go. So then you have to increase, right? But also know that when God starts giving you these instructions, right, it is a clear indication that you're close. Because if you're far away from the open door for the blessing or whatever, God really don't, he give you things, but it's not like a pressing. It's not like an acceleration. They're kind of like bits and pieces. He'll kind of drop nuggets. And it doesn't even make sense at the time, but I think he kind of drop it just because when the time comes, his ordained time comes, then he will bring it back to your memory. But if you're still a good ways back from certain open doors, he's just giving you certain bits and pieces and nuggets for you to remember. But not if he's pressing in your spirit and telling you he's giving you instructions to really move your feet, go do this, go pray here, go touch this, go do whatever, then obviously you're very close to open doors. But please understand, along with that comes spiritual attacks in different forms. When people start attacking you randomly, when there's warfare going on, he's now messing with your family, right? He's messing with your mental health, just whatever. It's heavy, but there's a lot of different stuff going on. You still have to remain obedient regardless of what's going on. You might take a hard hit when it comes down to something, right? And you may need a moment to really woosah and get back up, but you got to get back up. And trust me, God will convict you. You will know when you got to you might take a couple of days, a couple of weeks off, but God will convict you clear as day on when it's time to get back to it. So don't let the attacks be a distraction from you moving your feet. It's almost like you have to do both at once. You have to literally, I'm picturing like a someone who's maybe like in the military with like their head down with all this different armor on, and there's this big storm and you got all kind of darts coming at you, but your head is down and you just keep walking that path even though wind is blowing everywhere, sand is everywhere, right? You got your head down, honey, but you walking up a hill at that, right? And these darts are just coming, but you got to know those darts can't hit you. Even if they hit you, they're only there to distract you. But they can't do anything with you. They can't take you out, right? Because you're on the path. You're on your God ordained path. So you're safe. So let birds be birds. Let mud ducks be mud ducks, right? Just keep yapping. God, I promise you. Ooh, honey, I made a recording about this probably 4 or 5 months ago, and it still stands true. God will silence and deal with your enemies. God will silence and deal with your enemies. Think about it. Think about all the people who, for no reason, or maybe reasons, I guess, for some, who really did, like, these people hated you, like, seriously. And, like, they were, like, your biggest enemies. Like, they were just trying to take you out whatever way they could, honey. Where are they now? Where are they? I mean, it's not like you're hiding. Social media, you can find anybody. Where are they? You don't have people. Where are they? The people now who are attacking you or are side-eyeing you or are your enemies, these are new folks. These are like people they found you on social media or something. These aren't your old enemies. Where are they? Where are you? You had all this mouth before, right? You had all these attacks before, but why aren't you attacking now? God will deal with your enemies, and I don't think people know. I truly don't think people know how dangerous it is to play around and mess with God's people when the individual is truly in alignment for God's will and God's purpose for their lives. See, now you're trying to interrupt. If the person is in alignment, then they're doing the will of God for a God ordained purpose. See, you might can touch them or whatever you got going on if they're out of alignment and they're just doing their own thing, right? They got to handle that. They got to cover themselves. When you are in God's alignment, you better be real careful the way you put your mouth on people. You better be real careful the way you deal with people. You better be real careful when you are trying to distract people because you're allowing the enemy to get up in your head and play with you all kind of way. If you're wise, you better rebuke and bind up that enemy when he get up in your head. When that enemy start telling you, hey, start typing these things. I want you to ruin this person's day. Hey, you better say, Satan, you and your no edges, I'm not playing with you because I already know, right? Mess around, lose your whole house. Mess around, lose your whole house. Play with it. You got to be careful messing with God's people. God will protect his people. So you better find something else to do. Because this ain't what you want. Period. And guys, you know it. Y'all already know. Where are the old enemies, guys? Where are your old enemies? Tell me. Let me know in the comment section. Have they been quiet? Right? So God is now silencing the new ones that came on. Just be careful. Very careful. You guys have a great day. Have a great weekend. It's your girl, Kizzy Rock.